Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another banner review video. We got a pretty cool banner here. It's called Fallen Heroes, and it includes the three following heroes: Hardin, Grima, or Possessed Robin, whatever you want to call them, and Possessed Celica. I wasn't expecting this theme at all, but it's pretty neat. I really like it despite it being a big spoiler theme. I don't really care about spoilers though myself. Maybe you do, but it is what it is. Anyways, topics for today are the same as always. I'll go over each hero's default stats, skills, a brief pros and cons segment, build ideas, and then we'll finish things off with a summoning ranking. First hero is Celica. She has 40 HP, 35 attack, 35 speed, 27 defense, 26 resistance, and 163 BST. She has the same base stat total as legendary Ike, Mia, Ira, Marissa, and Tobin. Her and Lucina are pretty close, but Celica has better magical bulk. Celica has a really solid stat line. This is a stat line where you can get creative with builds, especially if we take into account her legendary weapon, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, great mixed bulk, and she has enough speed to prevent double attacks, which means distant counter builds are viable. So is Wrath, Desperation, player phase sets, or even enemy phase sets. Her weapon is Beloved Sophia, grants defense +3 passively if her HP is at 100% at the start of combat. She's granted +4 in every single stat aside from HP, and if she performs an attack, she takes 4 damage after combat. It's definitely a trickier weapon to build around compared to Ragnarok. The mage version of Celica is ranged, so whenever she attacks melee units that couldn't attack back or one-shot enemies before they could counter, she could just heal her health back using renewal. This version is melee, so unless she's fighting nothing but ranged units, she's going to take some sort of counter hit damage along with the 4 recoil damage, so getting back to full health will be a lot harder. You can look at it this way: this weapon grants her 7 defense, so her defense increases to 34. I would say the average attack for a hero is somewhere around 50, so we'll just use 50 as the example. She most likely won't get doubled, but she will take 16 damage or 20 damage if we add the 4 recoil damage. So renewal isn't going to help restore her health back unless you want to stall for several turns. Also, you might think this weapon is for player phase only because it gives attacking speed, but it's not. It can be used on both phases as long as she's 100% HP. Special is Luna, resolve combat as if foes suffer defense and resistance -50%. It's fine, but considering how much stats she is gaining from her weapon plus her incredible base stats, more consistent 3-charge specials are going to be Draconic Aura or Bonfire depending on IVs. B skill is Chill Speed. At the start of each turn, inflicts speed -5 on foe on the enemy team with the highest speed through its next action. It has the same mechanic as Gunthra's unique B skill. It has a global range, which is nuts, and if an opponent has 2 heroes with the highest and same amount of speed, then they will both get debuffed. It's good, however, I wouldn't use it on super fast heroes like Ira or Mia. Those 2 heroes are insanely fast. I think they are better off with Desperation or a different combat skill. I think this skill is more for either supportive units or heroes with a speed number that is good enough for preventing doubles and can't double much themselves. Like Marth would be a good example, not too fast nor is he too slow. He's also one of the best buffers in the game, just a lot of utility in that one hero, and then if you give him chill speed, then he has even more utility. Anyways, chill speed is also pretty good on fire sweep users. They don't really have a definitive B skill that they should use other than breaker skills or hit and run. Fire sweep weapons are all about doubling, so chill speed definitely helps with that. By the way, this skill is inheritable by all units, so you could even give this skill to your staff units. It's better on ranged units, that's for sure. C skill is Hone Attack. It's a solid buffing skill, nothing else to it. She's a really solid unit, amazing stats, incredible weapon, and decent default skills. The only small issue is that she's another sword user and faces competition for the red spot on a team. She does stand out a bit because she's the only unit that comes with chill speed, and that's a great skill to have to use against Iras or Mias in the arena. The key boon that you will want on her is definitely speed. Defense or res isn't that bad either for an enemy phase set. Also keep in mind that plus res is a +4 super boon. Best Bane is for sure HP despite it being a +4 super Bane, but if you want to strictly use her for melee versus melee matchups, then minus resistance is the best Bane for that. Here's a player phase set. Reciprocal Aid is used to help her get back to full HP so that she can continue using Beloved Sophia's effect, but you will have to surround her with allies with decent base HP. Luna is her default special, which is fine, but swapping it out for Draconic Aura would be better. I gave her Death Blow because with Chilling Speed and Beloved Sophia, she won't have problems doubling enemies as long as she's attacking the one gain debuff by Chill Speed. If you want to reduce more damage, I guess you could go with Sturdy Blow instead. The strategy for this build is to attack and kill an enemy, then use reciprocal aid on an ally or have a staff ally healer, then rinse and repeat. Here's a relatively cheap build that does not use chill speed. So with this build, she's just going to nuke one enemy, then for the enemies after that, she'll have the Desperation Brashazol combo to help her get guaranteed doubles against enemies that can counterattack. C slot is flexible, special slot can be swapped out for Draconic Aura or Bonfire if you want more consistent damage. Instead of Fury Desperation, you can go with Brazen Attack Speed if you happen to have Winter Robin laying around. You can play around with the special and seal slot. I just like Glimmer with Heavy Blade because she has 58 attack without buffs and can activate Glimmer every 2 hits. So here's another player face set that's kind of expensive. With this set, she's gaining 8 speed when she attacks. With a neutral status Celica, her speed goes up to 43, and furthermore if she gets some sort of speed buff from an ally. That should be enough speed to double most enemies. So for the first fight, she should double and hopefully receive enough damage to activate Wrath. She only needs to receive 15 damage total to be in Wrath range, so 11 damage from the enemy and 4 damage from beloved Sophia. And then the next turn, Aether should be at 0 cooldown because of the -2 special cooldown reduction from Wrath and Quick Impulse. Pretty much blow up an enemy and restore some health back. Will it restore her back to full? Maybe, it really depends on the scenario, but Reciprocal Aid is there just in case she doesn't get restored back to full. Here's an enemy face set, distant counter, chill speed, and distant defense 3 seal. It's not really a reliable set because it relies too much on chill speed activating on the right unit so that she can double counterattack. Like if the opponent has Ira and a mage, then chill speed will probably debuff Ira because she's super fast. Then if you try bait the mage, then Celica won't be able to double. So what you could do is try Quick Approach seal instead. 39 speed and 70 total magical bulk is good enough to survive 1 hit from most mages. She should 2-hit KO them, and on the following player phase she'll have Luna ready. So on paper she could potentially take out 2 units on her own and go 1 for 2, which is pretty good in my book. Next is Hardin. At max level he has 45 HP, 34 attack, 28 speed, 36 defense, 32 resistance, and 175 BST. Like I said in the Valentine's Elwood video, arena score is based on BST in interval sets of 5. So heroes with 170 to 174 BST will score the same amount of points, assuming that they have similar costing skills. Hardin is tied with Winter Lissa and Valentine's Elwood for the highest BST in the game, but Hardin will score more than those two because he has a legendary weapon and those two do not. If we compare him with the other lance armored units, I would say he has a pretty unique stat line. The one most similar to him is probably Gwendolyn, but it's not even close. Hardin is a lot like a blue version of Sheena, but better, which is a great thing. He has a really good mixed bulk and above average attack. His speed is on the lower side, but it's not really that big of a problem. Weapon is Gradivis, same weapon as Camus, and it has distant counter built in, of course. When you have a blue version of Sheena with a distant counter weapon, you already know that that's going to be a really good unit. I say that because Sheena is probably that one hero in the game that has to have distant counter. So in Hardin's case, this weapon frees up the 8th slot for defensive or offensive stat boosting skills. Special is Vengeance. It's okay, but not really that good. His defense is the highest stat, so you want to give him something like Ignis, Bonfire, or even Aether. A skill is Brazen Defense Resistance. If unit's HP is less than or equal to 80% at the start of combat, grants defense and resistance +7 during combat. This is a really good skill for mixed tanks. Hardin only has to take 9 damage to get into Brazen range, and when he does, he's going to be one insanely hard guy to take down, especially if he's on a triple ward armor team. If we add triple ward armor buffs and Brazen Defense Resistance together, then he'll have about 55 defense and 51 resistance. That's not even including the seal slot, by the way. Those stats can increase even more by 6 if you give him close defense or distant defense. B skill is Bolt Fighter, one of the best B skills in the game. Basically, whenever Hardin initiates combat, he's guaranteed to double regardless of speed. Also, every time he performs an attack, he's gaining 1 extra special charge. So for example, if he attacks Ira, one of the fastest units in the game, Hardin will attack and gain 2 charges for his special, then Ira counters, Hardin gains 1 more charge, then he'll get that guaranteed second hit, giving him 2 more charges which will proc Bonfire or give him enough charges to ready Ignis or Aether. Also, by the way, we now have a way to get Bolt Fighter from the regular summoning pool. Winter Alyssa was the only other unit with Bolt Fighter and she's a limited edition, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, Hardin is amazing. He's a blue Sheena with more attack, speed, and a distant counter weapon. Default set is excellent. Brazen Defense Resistance and Bullfire will work great with his stat line. Vengeance is the only underwhelming skill that he has. As for IVs, I really hate when Intelligent Systems does this. If you can remember, I said that arena scoring is based on BST in interval sets of 5. Hardin has 175, which means that if he has a Super Bane, he goes to 174, which means he'll score less points. The Super Banes are HP and Speed, which are the two stats that I would consider to be his best Banes. Well, Speed more so than HP, but I mean, if you don't care about maximizing arena scoring, then yeah, the best Bane are those two stats. He scores a lot of points already, even at 174 BSTs, so I guess it really doesn't matter. Best boon is probably resistance, considering that he has incredible defense already and his role is to be a mixed tank. More attack or defense could help as well, considering that he has bold fighter, but yeah, I think resistance is what he really wants. Honestly, neutral IVs wouldn't be that bad either. Here's his budget set, pretty much his default set with bonfire, swap, ward armor, few options for seals, and he's good to go. Just make sure that you surround him with triple ward armor buffs. More expensive builds looks something like this. Go with steady or warding breath and aether. Again, triple ward armor buffs will be important to reduce as much damage as possible, and if you can, give him armor march because it'll help him initiate better on the player phase. Last hero of the banner is Grima or Robin, 48 HP, 40 attack, 24 speed, 35 defense, 27 resistance, and 174 BST. In terms of stats, he's a lot like Winter Crom, insanely high attack, high physical bulk with decent magical bulk. The big difference is that Robin deals magical damage instead of physical since he's a dragon. He's an armor dragon to be exact, so he can be used in any type of team composition, whether it's armor emblem, dragon emblem, or even mixed emblem. Really good green armor units are getting out of hand. There's too many good ones now, and green dragons are not quite there yet, but almost. All three green dragons that are available right now are amazing. Fortunately for us, Sheeta and Alm both got refined weapons, so if you have one of those two units, then they are going to be great to use against Robin. His unique weapon is Expiration, distant counter effect, and if foes range equals 2, damage calculated using the lower of foes defense or resistance. Basically like a refined lightning breath with more attack, but it loses out on defensive stats, but that shouldn't matter too much. The big thing is that it doesn't have the slow special trigger effect, so that's pretty nice. Special is Ignis, great special for him. Even though his attack is insanely high, you still want to give him a defense based special because he has a distant counter weapon, which means he's best used on the enemy phase, which also means that he wants defensive buffs. B skill is Vengeful Fighter. Just like Bold Fighter, we have a way to get Vengeful Fighter now from the normal summoning pool. Like I keep saying, distant counter weapons equals enemy phase unit. Vengeful Fighter is the best skill an enemy phase unit could ever ask for. It has a lower HP requirement than Quick Riposte, and it grants 1 extra special charge whenever the unit performs an attack. It's really powerful and one of the best B skills in the game. C skill is Ward Dragons. So we finally got a ward buff for dragons. I think we're just missing Go Dragons now, which isn't that important because Ward Dragons is where it's at. Most dragons are built for the enemy phase and are super tanky. So if you stack Ward Dragons, then they'll all gain 12 defense and resistance and become even more tankier. Dragon teams are going to be even harder to take down in high tier 20 arena now, but fortunately for us, or at least some of us, have our Lord and Savior Alm to help us take down those dragon teams. Robin's great, definitely the best unit in the banner. He has a unique lightning breath weapon, Vengeful Fighter, and Ward Dragons. He's fantastic to use and excellent for fodder, so even if you dislike armor units, you can always just sacrifice him to one of your dragon units for ward armor. As for his best boon, I don't think you can go wrong with plus attack, defense, or resistance. Plus attack is a super boon, so with that he can hit 175 BST. Best bane is speed, and then second would be HP. Here we give him close defense or steady stance with distant defense seal. Dragons are popular in arena, so maybe go for close defense over steady stance. This makes him a great mixed tank against both ranged and melee enemies. C-slot depends on team compositions. There's a bunch of viable skills, but the best options are Ward Armor, Ward Dragons, Armor March, Panic Ploy, or Smoke skills. He has enough raw attack to two-shot a lot of enemies, so consider using Aether instead of Ignis. If he gets doubled, then Ignis will proc on his second counter hit. If he has Aether, then he can use Aether to blow up someone on the following player phase. You can also just give him distant defense in the A slot and just use the close defense 3 seal. It's basically the same thing. The best hero in this banner is for sure Robin at first, and then Hardin, and lastly Celica. Take that ranking with a grain of salt because they are all really good. There's no bad hero in this banner. Best fodder in my opinion is Robin or Hardin. They both have really good skills. Vengeful Fighter is as good as Bold Fighter. War Dragons is amazing if you have a dragon team, and Brazen Defense Resistance is very useful if you have a mixed bulk unit that can use it well. Celica has Chill Speed, which is a good skill, but is not as good as Vengeful or Bold Fighter. Overall, I would say that this is a good banner to pull from if you need more units, especially armor units. However, if you don't need any of these units like me, then consider just pulling for one of these units just to use as a bonus unit in the next arena season. Otherwise, I would just recommend saving your orbs. Let me know who you summoned in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.